Do you mind cutting a quick ID for me?
Now, here's the way I like to do them. I like the two of us in on it.
Okay.
Okay? You just stay linear with the way you are. Okay?
You got it.
And you'll ask me if I'll cut them.
Okay. Hey, Bill. Would you be willing to cut an ID for me?
Yeah. This is Bill Cosby. Aloha. And I'm very pleased to be here. Where are we?
Hawaii at the moment.
The whole of Hawaii.
Honolulu.
Honolulu. Hello, this is Bill Cosby, and I'm in Honolulu, with the great Mr. Lawrence. Did I get the last name right?
You certainly did, my brother.
And I'm here on this radio station. Now, I won't give you the call letters because, it's on your radio. You ought to know what it is. A halimaki. What did I just say?
That would be house. You said house to march or house to roll or fold.
Oh. I made up a word one time. And I said to this guy, what did I just say? He said, you like to clean fish. I'll see you.
Be safe, Bill. Aloha,
Thank you. Hello.
Hey, I'd know that voice anywhere. Aloha, Bill. It's Dave Lawrence from Hawaii Public Radio.
Hey. All right.
A big hug, a big aloha, mahalo.
Thank you.
Nice to hear you. That wonderful, rich, charismatic voice that you've got.
Yeah.
You all right with time? Did I get you at the right moment?
Yeah, no, it's fine.
You just kicked back? Awesome, my brother. Appreciate. And how about the levels? Can you hear me okay on?
I have you clear as a bell. Thank you.
And you're sounding very good, too.
No sound of water anywhere.
And I have the beach just 20 feet away with dolphins jumping out of the water.
Yeah.
All right, so I'll put an intro on it, and then at the end, if you don't mind cutting a couple IDs, I'd be super grateful.
Love it.
All right, hang tight. Here we go. Aloha, it's Dave Lawrence. How are you? I hope everything's good in your life, and a big mahalo for tuning in. I appreciate you taking time for this. Today, we're welcoming a very special guest who has 2 upcoming dates in the islands, March 29th at the Mac in Kahului, March 30th at the Blaisdell. My guest is, he's an extraordinary man. He's a comedian, but he's also many other things. An actor, author, producer, recording artist, musician, father. He's worn still other noteworthy hats along the way. He has a recent book, I Didn't Ask to Be Born, but I'm Glad I Was. You know him from a lot of places. TV series I Spy, epic Saturday morning cartoon series Fat Albert. Of course, there's The Cosby Show, The Bill Cosby Show, Cosby. There's Kids Say the Darndest Things. How about those Jell-O ads? His father, a World War II combat vet. He was in the Navy, too. And for folks originally from the Philly area, like me, he's known for his connection to Philly, also Temple University. I could go on, so let's include our guest in this celebration of his life. It's a great pleasure to welcome a guy whose career has broken barriers and cemented him as a pioneering force, a superstar in American pop culture. The great Bill Cosby. Aloha and mahalo, brother Bill.
Thank you for letting me speak for myself. You know, one of the most interesting things is more and more to hear the introduction, and I hear about myself, and then as of maybe the past year, I've been reflecting on my 6th grade teacher and my 5th grade teacher and my mother, because these 3 women, my mother first and foremost, they played a huge part in the life of young Bill.
Right.
And education clearly sits way atop. The fact that my mother didn't have much of a chance, taken out of the second half of the 9th grade, taken out of school to to do domestic work, washing and learning how to sew and repair fine fabrics, which really paid off for us because my father was very, very irresponsible, and my mother had to double up as a working person and a mother of two very young children. And I went back to her high school, which was established in 1848, and she arrived in 1931. And the school was for extremely bright girls going to public school. So there she is removed. And then I was talking to my brother Russell about Mom. And Russell recalls different things because I'm 6 years older than Russell. And I of course had to do different things, being the oldest of the children. But then I joined the Navy, and then Russell became the first to help Mom. And then I got involved with the sixth grade school teacher. But the fifth grade school teacher, first of all, was a black woman. Her name's Miss McKinney. She took me to a ball game. And I remember the funniest thing, man. You know, fifth grade. And I don't know much about loving and kissing. But she took me to the game. And I think that I was used to block this fellow who I remember she would say to him, no, you have to stop this. And then he would give me, hot dogs were 10 cents.
Wow.
And he said, would you like a hot dog? I said, yeah. So give me 10 cents and I'd go get a hot dog, come back. Well, I ate about 6 of them.
Just so you go.
He kept sending me, and I remember his words, man. He said, you know, this boy can eat. And then a great moment we had with her. We used to have a assembly. I don't know if you ever had that.
Yeah, they had that for a while there. I remember that. Put everybody in one big room like the auditorium or something.
Yeah. And this is, of course, elementary school. You do the Pledge of Allegiance and you sing the national anthem. And this one day, we sang, and there was a lot of Irish songs. Now, the population, we were about 87% black. And Miss O'Neill played the piano, and she was a piano plunker. And I remember Tura, Laura. It used to make me very sad to sing it. It's just a sad song. And then there were other Irish songs. But we came back to the classroom after the assembly, and Miss McKinney was the last one in the room, and we sat down. And she stood in front of us, and she said, the next time they ask us to sing Old Black Joe, you will not sing. You will keep your mouth closed. And then she pointed to me and she said, William, you come up here and you tell them a story. I will be back. And so I had to make up a story. I didn't know about what. But she came back and then she started with the lessons. Well, we never sang that song again. Not because they asked and we didn't. They never asked anymore. In its place was a song which was the Negro National Anthem. Lift every voice and sing. It followed the national anthem.
Wow.
And I just remember her, and I believe she was the one responsible for one song not being done anymore and another one done every morning, along with the national anthem and the pledge.
It's a big shift.
Yeah. And then, hold the phone 1 sec.
No problem, brother.
So, this woman is white. Her last name is Forchic, Forchic, and she is Orthodox Russian.
Mm.
She and my mother went to the same high school. And as the story is told, they knew each other. This Miss Forchic was the teacher that kids, you remember when you were a kid, they knew the teachers that you shouldn't get.
The tough ones.
Right. She don't know, but she's mean. She will make you do your work over. And I said to some people, because I was in 5th grade, I said, well, she's going to be in trouble if she gets me, because I will just beat her up. And she was 4'11". So was my mother. But I did not realize that my mother bringing me to that school in the 2nd grade met with this teacher and said, make sure you get him, because they both went to the same high school and they knew each other. So I got her.
Your mom wanted you to have a really challenging instructor.
Now, my last name starts with the letter C. In the 5 years going to school, I usually wind up somewhere around the 5th seat in the 1st row, or the 1st seat,
2nd row.
Right. I don't know how it happened. I wound up on the 4th row, front seat.
Hmm.
And guess whose face was right there? Miss Fortune. And so, it didn't bother me. I said, okay, man, this is it. It never registered. Your mother's behind all of this. Well, this woman started on me and stayed
On you.
on me.
Right.
And one of the oddest things was I hated it, but then I started to get these wonderful grades because she was really making me do things over, and I wasn't a defiant kid, like throwing things, and I would just do it. And then what I enjoyed was the reward after a while, because I'd never gotten any great rewards. It's okay, fine job, you did it, and then most of the time the teachers would make me do it. So I say, okay, now don't you feel better that And I just had never given myself a chance. This woman died, this teacher, in 1998 or 92. I got a call to this number. It was the Washington, D.C. Police Department. And I went to Mr. Cosby. Yes. We have a woman who's been in the morgue now 4 days, and really and truly, the only number we have for her is your number, and it says not to call you. It's just a phone number with your name. And we were wondering if you know this woman, and I said yes. That's my 6th grade school teacher.
Unbelievable.
And I said, well, no one has come to claim the body. And I said, I know why. And he said, why? I said, well, as time went on, we got to know each other, this wonderful teacher and I. And when she graduated from college, she was very, very just full of all kinds of cum laudes and things. And they wanted her to become a lawyer, her family. And she said, no, I want to go out and teach poor colored children. And her family threw her out of the family. Never, ever talked to her again. So I know exactly what is going on. So the policeman said, well, I'll tell you, one of them came, and he picked up the bank book, but he left her here. I said, don't worry about it. So I got on the train from
New York,
Massachusetts. No, I went. This is our home.
Right.
And I got on the train. I rode to Washington, D.C., and I had her cremated. And it just so happened that they gave me some papers and stuff, and the detective said, oh, look at this. He said, you're lucky. I said, why? He said, it says here that she wishes to be cremated. I said, well, if you want to call that luck, okay. But I've been doing this and having a wonderful experience because our 47-year-old daughter has been working with the archivist at Girls High, and she has gone into so many things about her grandmother and this wonderful teacher because we just said flat out to this daughter, look, why don't you go ahead and get your doctorate, and then we'll see what else we want to do in education. So she's very, very interested in that. It is a ball. And the wonderful thing of reliving time with Mom and then my brother Russell telling his humorous stories of the kind of woman she was, and it's just this recollection. It's very, very wonderful. So when you get around 75, see if you can pull out. But I would warn you now, save everything now, because there's a lot of stuff I'm kicking myself that, first of all, I never thought I'd be famous, so things are just gone.
Archival stuff, you mean, that you wish you had held on to?
Yeah, pictures of us. I have some wonderful pictures of myself with Mom, but golly, I wish We had higher self-esteem, and I would love to be able to have pictures of myself as maybe a 4-year-old with Mom. There's stuff here, but nothing really that one would want to say, "Wow, here I am on a pony."
You want that more than just about anything you're saying after all these years? It's sort of like...
No. This is a period now. This is a period. It's sort of like go back,
Nostalgia?
And it's wonderful. It's wonderful. And then Russell was recalling my mother's brother, and I was recalling a wonderful trip, young man's journey on his 12th birthday.
Yourself?
Yeah, born July 12th. Now, we live in the projects, and we are very, very poor. And my mother said to me, "Why don't you go visit my brother, Uncle William?" And I don't think I was named after him because I'm Junior.
I was just thinking that. Thank you for answering.
Yeah. So she gave me the address, and I walked from 10th Street to 59th Street in the summer.
What town are we in now?
Philadelphia.
Mm.
I walked more than 70 blocks, because once I got to 59th Street, I had to walk south. I got to Uncle William's house, man. The most extraordinary experience. At age 12, to knock on the door of a man I've never met. My mother doesn't have a phone, and he doesn't have a phone, but he has a house. We live in a housing project, and all the shades are drawn because he doesn't have air conditioning. It's blocking the sun out. I opened the door. He opens the door. I said, "Uncle William?" He said, "Yes." I said, I'm your sister's son." And he says, well. And I'm doing like it's my birthday and Uncle William's going to give me some money. He said, "Come in." So he closed the door. It's cooler than outside because I had walked these 70 blocks.
Right.
And the house is it's nice and it's clean looking. And I sat down and he sat down. And we just looked at each other. I said, "My mom, today is my birthday." He said, my. I said, "And my mom sent me out here to see you on my 12th birthday." He said, well. And he didn't say anything else. So I said, I walked all the way out here, Uncle William, on my birthday to see you. He says, well. So now, man, I don't know, this silence is getting to be something. I said, "Well, Uncle William, I'm going to go home now." He said, "Well, you take care of yourself." I said, "But Uncle William," I said, "this have one problem. I've walked all the way out, and it's my birthday. Could you could you give me 12 cents so I could ride on the trolley car home? He said, I don't have a cent. Now, I'm telling you, man, this man told the truth. And if you've never met anyone who had no money, I say my Uncle William had no money, and I saw it. I said, Uncle William, now in those days you buy soda, and then you turn them in, and you could get 2 cents back or a nickel if it was a large bottle. I said, Uncle William, don't you have some soda bottles? He said, no, I just cashed in the last one. And by this time, I became very, very angry with Uncle William. This is a grown man with nothing. And I just invited myself to walk back and look in his kitchen. And he went with me. There was nothing there. And I said, well, Uncle William, I'll see you later. He said, well, you take care of yourself and happy birthday. I said, thank you. Now, that is one of the most extraordinarily sad stories anybody has ever encountered. I mean, to meet a man who had no money, my mother's brother, Uncle William.
It's heavy, bro.
Whoa. But I love that story, though, because, I mean, to sit there in that dark room in the daytime with just the light coming past the shades, you know, and it was cooler there, but to sit there and not know exactly how to say to him, could you give me a quarter or something? You know, I just held on until it was time to go. But, you know, I began to laugh at the two of us because one has no money and the other one has no money. And we're both looking at each other, and it's just an extraordinary story.
Were there more encounters with him as your...
I never saw him again.
Oh, wow.
And when he died, I said, good. Nobody should live that long as broke as that. No, I didn't. No, but when my brother said, your Uncle William died, I said, okay. I should have said, my.
Right.
Yeah.
Man. I mean, what...
Yeah.
Humbling background, dude.
Well, I don't know. You know, people say humbling. I don't know humbling, man. I just know I was broke. You know, if you want to intellectualize it, you can go ahead and help yourself. But broke is broke.
Right.
And the one thing, so many, you know, getting to around this behavior of people who have no money but have a feeling to put themselves in harm's way by wanting to take it from people and then wind up, you know, incarcerated, et cetera, et cetera. See, that's a whole different way of life and thinking. But man, now Isaiah Thomas, the basketball player,
right?
I read about him, and I was surprised to find out how we shared the same experience. I was born in 1937. I'm sure I'm at least 20 years older than Isaiah. And Isaiah, his mother looked after him, and they were so poor. What we shared was there were times when, at Christmas, he would not let his friends come in the house because he had no presents. And that, too, was something that had happened. And I remember 2 Christmases and no tree.
And
that's the kind of situation Dad left us in.
No presents, no tree.
No dad, no presents, no tree. My mother working as a domestic, and I mean, she she got through it, but then I helped beat her up too because I didn't graduate from high school. All that promise that she saw in elementary school with that teacher, and then and I wasn't a boy. I never got kicked out of school. I wasn't truant. I was just that 6th grade teacher wrote on my report card, William has a quiet way of not listening.
Quiet way.
Yeah, but one of the most interesting moments for me was taking the SAT exam, because my whole life in school, I took it after getting out of the Navy. So I was 23 years old, or 22, and 23, yeah. And I took this exam. Now, all my school life, I paid no attention to anything. I would look, and I had a way, as she said, a quiet way of not listening, because I was thinking about other things, and I was entertaining myself.
Storytelling in your mind?
Well, I don't know what it was, man. It was just drifting and going. It wasn't that I was wishing that I was rich or doing anything. It was just ignoring. So finally, I want to get into college. I got a GED exam that I winged, and I have studied nothing. Sitting, taking that exam, I started to laugh out loud, and the monitor came over, and he said, "You're going to have to stop laughing." So I said, "Okay," and I kept going over the questions, and I didn't make any noise. I was just laughing because I knew nothing. There was nothing in there that I recognized. That I knew the answer to. And then I came with the thought. There's an old saying that a dying man sees his whole life pass before him. And that's why I started laughing, because I was looking at this math and looking at the cylinders and the triangles. Yeah, I recognize these things, but I don't know. My whole life is passing before me, and I'm dying. Hey, man, I scored 500 in that exam. 500 for everything.
Total.
And they let me in. I was so happy. And they put me in remedial everything. I was the happiest person in remedial everything anybody had ever seen. They could have put me in an insane asylum. I was happy, man. I was in college, and I'm going to learn.
On that learning tip, though, Bill, when you talk about your mom thinking like all of those early experiences came to nothing because you didn't go right into school, wasn't there an enormous sense of pride from her, and I would think even in yourself, that even after achieving celebrity in the 60s, you decided that the education was crucial to you. You went back to school.
Doctor, I walked across that stage, and Chancellor Bromley gave me my diploma, EDD, in education. And I walked off the stage, and there was a big roar. And I sat down, and a security guard fell. This is outdoors on the football stadium.
UMass Amherst?
Yeah. And I looked. My mother had knocked him over, 4'11", because he tried to block her. She knocked him over and came over and sat on my lap. In her will, she left all of us some money, probably money I gave her, and she just put it away. She gave Bob Russell. But in the will, it stated, and to my son, Billy, I leave $48,000 so he will have something to fall back on.
That's heavy, dude. I mean, considering what you achieved.
Well, look, if you can, it sort of sounds like Rudyard Kipling, but if you can send your mother around the world on the QE2 3 times, and then on different tours, and set up bridge parties for her, and set up bowling, and have her tricked on her birthday, giving her one of the retired great female bowlers, and my mother doesn't know it, and that's her partner at the bowling alley. And my mother thinks she's just with another lady who just enjoys bowling. And mom's keeping the score. I wasn't there. I set it up. I set it up with a friend of mine, Captain Gene Heath. And when she came home, this woman, she would pinch. She wouldn't hit. She would pinch. And I felt a sharp pinch. And I looked at her. What is the matter? She said, "You knew that woman was a champion and you wouldn't tell me." And everybody was laughing. They just said, "Mrs. Cosby, you were cheering for her and wishing for her, and she just kept hitting strike after strike." And finally, after about the 10th strike, the fellow who owns the alley got on the mic. "Ladies and gentlemen, over in alley, so forth and so on, is Bill Cosby's mother, along with so forth and so on, and such and such, and the former world champion of the privilege." My mother, they said, Mom's mouth fell open. She just stopped taking score.
These are the kind of personal experiences you did just because you love her so much?
Oh, you have to when you're fortunate, man. My brother James, who died at age 7, we never put on anything soiled. Scorched, yes, but soiled, no. We only had 2 outfits apiece for the spring. But she never sent us out. Hole in the shoe? Yes. Dirty white shoes?
No.
No.
I get it.
And that's the way she was.
She wanted you to look good.
She had learned all that stuff when they pulled her out of high school.
Right.
9th grade.
You carry all these lessons with you, huh? I mean, I'm learning.
They're beautiful. They're beautiful feelings of life. And that's why, as I put things together in my work, the main thing when I woke up in the Navy, education, education, education. The steps that lead you to a better view of yourself? Education. And from the step to my first step was way down. So I had to do things that I looked at as things that I would have to do forever if I didn't
get an
education.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I get you.
So then, when I got out of the Navy, I knew I wanted to be a school teacher because I'm going to give this information to these 7th and 8th grade boys.
You want to pass it along.
Not only pass it, it's going to get in them.
Inspire.
Because I'm jacking people up.
Got it.
Yeah, boy.
That has been your way, though, too. I mean, and you'll say it where even if it's not what other people want to hear, because...
Well, I've always kind of wished that somebody had taken me and said to me, like Miss Forchick did, I needed somebody to sit on me.
And push you, right?
Yeah.
And is some of this, Bill, like at your age, you were saying when you get to this age, you can start to appreciate some of this. Is what I'm getting from you, is there like a big lesson that like no matter what, education, even no matter your circumstances, education is a critical way of self-development?
But you have to have that in yourself first. I'm also saying that if there are people who won't say something to you, but just let you do it, there's a problem. Because when people see you doing something and it isn't correct, it's difficult for people to walk up and get in your business. Apathy can only be countered if a situation becomes painful to the people with the apathy. Then they will begin to move. But if they can see it and if they can feel it, for instance, I was explaining for Black History Month, a lot of these kids, they write a piece. So-and-so was born as such, and she was a slave. And so then it took the slavery, and they did this, and they did that, and the people moved to this, and then she wrote a book, and then she wrote another book, and she became a very... And I often say, no, stop. You're reading this like it's a done deal. I want to put things in your mind. She was a slave. I want you to think about how that feels. What does that feel like? What does it mean? And I want you to have it in your mind that you don't know the end of this story. See, you read it like you know the end of the story, but this person didn't know. It's what they believe in and what they feel. And if they have to go up against the master of the property or some people who live with them who want to squeal about what they're doing, you have to put these things there because that presents a problem, and you have to figure that out. So many of these children, as I'm working with some of them one-on-one, especially in these incarceration places, that these kids don't know. They don't know the pain. They know their pain, but they also have given up. And what's shameful is they load them up with these prescription drugs to keep them from being active in anger. And then when they get out, the kids don't have money for the prescriptions, and they go back to the same thing.
Mm.
It's something that belongs in the hands of the parents, and we can't afford to play this game much longer because the kids, with their youth and the way they think and whether life is strongly a wonderful nectar, whether it's a trip out to see Uncle William and come back with no money, to get a school teacher nobody wants, but on the day of graduation feel like crying, but not tears of sadness, sort of tears of thankful
Gratitude that you had someone like that.
Yes.
To push you.
And now at age 75, to have a wife who is, she loves me.
You're so lucky, brother.
Hey, man, I don't even like to think about luck, but I'm telling you, because it's not fair on her.
Right.
I may be the one with luck, but I don't know. Tim Conway one day, I had on some makeup and stuff, and he had to act while looking at me like that. And he said, Tim Conway is wonderful. He said, have you ever been on the other side of that? And I say, for my wife, if I would ever be on the other side, the other side of this, I would have cut me loose a long time ago, man, because there's an old saying, the couple going up to heaven, and the guy said, well, you can't come in unless you ask God a question that God can't answer, and they wrote it down, and he came back, and the guy said, go on in, and some souls were there, and they said, they did that? I said, yes. Were they geniuses? I said, no. I said, well, what did they ask God? They asked God when their children are going to get their act together. So, I'm 75. I'm still temptations, not drugs, not drinking, but there are different ways. And not arguing, not putting my hands up, but just disappointment away from work, away from things. And it's just, I look at her, and I love, love, love her.
And to have a wife who's been, since the 60s, you guys have had this, yeah? It's like...
Oh, please, yeah.
It's a really, in today's world, that's something that, it bears in mind something that I was thinking about. When you look at your life, if someone just took a quick glance and they didn't really look at it, they'd think, man, what a charmed life. He's such a superstar. But despite all your successes, a look through your history reveals a lesson in persistence, too. Sort of what you've been describing. But in addition to that, there were shows that didn't last. There were projects that didn't work out. Yet you kept returning. You were unfazed. You never seemed to let any failures stunt your creativity. That's how it appears to me. And
I always had, pertaining to thereof and whereas, the monologues. Always. When you look at it, those things, Temple University, remedial English, writing a composition, and may I add, turning it in on time, young fella. First, that was a first. But when the professor turned the papers back, I got the same reaction when I used to not turn the papers in, and that was I got no paper back, and he had it, and he read it to the class. That made a break in my thinking about thinking and believing that I could think in a different way. And that started it all. So with all of the downs and the ups in performing, in show business, I still had a safe haven. And that was
The monologue.
and is the monologues. I'm going to have to leave you now.
I understand. It's cool.
No, I got a granddaughter who is playing the handsome prince. It's an all-girls school. So she's going to be the handsome prince in this story. Now, don't get me started. But I don't think I have to worry about, who she's going to marry or anything like that. But she is playing the handsome prince.
Bill, man, it's a huge thrill to get to talk to you, and I hope this hasn't been a hassle.
No. You make sure you get tickets for the show.
Do you mind cutting a quick ID for me?
Now, here's the way I like to do them. I like the two of us in on it.
Okay.
Okay? You just stay linear with the way you are. Okay?
I am. You got it.
And you'll ask me if I'll cut them.
Okay. Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
Would you be willing to cut an ID for me?
Yeah. What's it going to say?
It's going to say something like, "Aloha, it's Bill Cosby, and this is a great place to be with my good buddy Dave Lawrence." It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
Hello,
this is Bill Cosby. Aloha, and I'm very pleased to be here. Where are we?
Hawaii at the moment.
The whole of Hawaii?
Honolulu.
Honolulu?
Honolulu.
Honolulu. Hello, this is Bill Cosby, and I'm in Honolulu, with the great Mr. Lawrence. Did I get the last name right?
You certainly did, my brother.
And I'm here on this radio station. Now, I won't give you the call letters because, it's on your radio. You ought to know what it is. A halimaki. What did I just say?
That would be house. You said house to march or house to roll or fold.
Oh, I made up a word one time. And I said to this guy, what did I just say? He said, you like to clean fish. I'll see you.
Be safe, Bill. Aloha.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.